So um, so what we're trying to do is, um, you might have certain uh, definitions where of functions, okay, so where some obligatory argument may be, created by you, such that some activities will be performed with that argument, okay. So suppose word into 2 will be printed, okay, this will be printed twice, and let's say, oh, I see, sentence. Hmm. And we'll see how it goes. Now suppose if I call just like previous, okay, with brackets, what happens here? You have to see the results to understand better. Just see what happens. You can see nothing is working. Now look at the, you know information regarding the type of error. Hmm. Okay, so um, one positional argument is required now, that is word. This was not required earlier, okay. So now if we give something inside this, let's say a string, let's say, whose name can I call from here on top? So suppose Akash, okay, and run this. Let's see how it works. As you can see, simply Akash is printed twice without any space, of course, because we didn't mention it. Well, it doesn't matter. If I gave something like number inside it, it should just print out. So some random stuff can be done, but well, you should make it meaningful. So um, we can make it more interesting also by making it, let's say, more meaningful. Let's say name, and let's say sentence. You can just write whatever you want, or you can even write my sentence, okay, doesn't matter. So these are just names, or some, placeholders or place markers for, certain arguments, such that when you call the definition greet 2, you can use this to work with some information you give inside the brackets as the objects. All right. So suppose now we shall have to modify this. Okay, name into 2, or let's say, uh, um, let's use the previous one intelligently. Instead of doing, hi plus name plus sentence, let us do it like this. Uh, let's say hi, then, string operator. Okay. I hope all of you remember this. Uh, well, okay. And then you can say uh, another string operator, and then outside you can simply say percent. You can give, in terms of tuple, you can give some information. So name is the first one, and my sentence is the next one, okay. So I hope you understand what we mean by this. We use the percent, uh, let's say, operator, very, with a lot of, oh, this is in the first part. I should be putting this at the end, right? Okay, okay, okay. Okay. So I'll have to share it separately. Okay, no problem. So this is a new sheet. So I just started one of the sheets. I'll share this sheet again with you. It's a separate sheet, Google Colab sheet. So um, I will share it with you right now, actually, so that you can see back and forth. Um, mhm, right. And here you go. Okay, so I have shared the sheet in your text chat box. We can play around with it. All right. So coming back, now we have a new definition with new arguments or new parameters, you can call them, such that certain functions, certain activities can be done to those parameters. Okay. So now if I don't give any arguments, of course there will be problems. But if I give only one argument, okay, say for the name, still then problems will be rising, arising, because now two arguments are required for this function. So now I'll have to give two things. uh, let's say Akash. Again, let's take another person. Let's take a mom. Okay, and then with a comma I can give another, uh, let's say, introduction. Let's say, mm, how are you today? So you can see, um, name can be something, and some other sentence can be given here. Let's see how the calling results. Now you see what's going on. Okay, I hope this is clear. If there are any doubts up to this, please, this is the time to ask. Otherwise we'll be going into deeper, analysis and understanding of the function. Okay. So as you can see, a lot of things can be possible. So there are several times you need to do a lot of operations, but you have to remember that many of the operations are so similar, okay, that you have to, you could have saved some coding space, or writing time, if you need to call certain, commands again and again. Okay, so it's best to define it all together in the beginning before any operation starts. So a definition can be just 2 lines, or maybe, 10 lines, 20 lines. Okay, so if you are not using definitions, you'll have be requiring to write those 20 lines again and again. Okay, that's such a waste of, resources, efforts, and time. So once you define it cleverly, such that I'll be using certain parameters, and I have some need in my, say, data analysis or corpus analysis and whatnot, next time you only need to call like this. Okay, let me also show you another option that it may be used. Suppose, x equals, I'll take another name for now. Let's say, uh, Amuda Raji, right? I hope all of you are there who I'm speaking to. So suppose MDJ. Okay. Suppose, y is your sentence. Okay. Suppose the sentence is, did you finish the task? Okay. Suppose. Now I can simply call, these x's and y's, very straightforward, in the function also, and as you can see, it yields results. Okay, so you might be able to uh, understand what is going on. So according to different names you can plan different outputs, and therefore you can plan different functions also. Just giving suggestions what all you can do. So you can have greet 1, greet 2, greet 3, greet 70, greet 100, whatever. So according to the name match, you can say, if, um let's say, you can have a list of names, suppose, and suppose you give a condition, if, for, say, name in the my list, if name equals a mom. Okay, run grid 2 of, name and sentence, like that. So this becomes much easier. So
Hello, sir.
inside for, yeah,
Hello,
yeah,
sir. Yeah, yeah, a mom is there. So
please.
is it something like nesting the information after embedding sort of thing? Is it something like that?
We
Can
are
we give?
always, yeah, We are
So
always embedding information, so that's okay. Hmm.
is there any possibility again within the name, comma, my sentence again another information?
Yeah, so whatever, if you have defined only that much
That
parameter you
must
can
that must
use.
parameter only. So if we
Yeah.
increase the parameter like
Yes.
another third one,
Yes, you have to define a new function, है ना?
okay.
So define, that's what I was suggesting,
So
grid
grid
3,
two,
grid
grid
4, grid
three,
100.
like that.
हाँ, and be creative and create a lot of functions. ठीक है ना? So when you play around, play with different types of functions and see how the output comes. Suppose grid 3 is about some numerical function, or let's say frequency finder. Okay, suppose you have a list. Okay, now one thing I want to tell you is that whatever is written inside the bracket, okay, be very cautious about it. Okay, you are not finding uh, these things here, right? Some of you may have noticed in line number 7 I have not used NAME or my sentence or something like that. This is not being used. So the idea is, firstly, Python promotes readable codes. Okay, and its strategy is such that you can write codes in your own way, such that you can have your own names according to the situation you are handling, and you will understand what is going on. Plus you can also always write a comment. Okay, so here you simply put name. Okay, but your plan is, whenever you call that function, in place of the name, okay, exactly in place of name, whatever you are able to put, okay, it will do such and such operations with the name. Okay, it will do such and such operations with my sentence. So this position becomes important, this argument location becomes very important. Okay, now suppose you want to create another situation where uh, you want to define a function. Suppose grid 3. Okay, suppose you want to define a function such that um, if name is given, let's come down to xy, so it saves time now. I hope you have understood what are x's and y's by now. Okay, suppose these are simply some kind of variables. They take the values of whatever is assigned to them in the, when you are calling the function. Okay, so when you are defining, you are planning a strategy such that the function will take these elements. Okay, and suppose there is a situation, okay, where by default you need some strategies such that even if names are not given or names are not available, some output will be coming out. Okay, but using the same definition grid 3, or the same function grid 3, um, s- um, some names can also be used. So how do you handle that? So the strategy is, you can assign a default value. Okay, you can assign a default value also. So you can write something like this: x equals everyone. Okay, and you can assign a default, let's say default value to the parameter. uh, Now let us see how we can do this, run this. Suppose I have a strategy, print again uh, hi uh, string. Okay, then the next one. Please make sure you're understanding what I'm doing with percent %s. It's simply creating a sequence of strings so that you can do a lot of interesting insertion of strings here. Okay, so print x comma y. All right. Now let us see what all it can do. You'll find that it's a very interesting solution. Okay. Now if I said greet uh, greet then I will say, uh, I'll put suppose something inside. Let's say let's put another person's name. Okay, hold on. Let me see who all is there. Let's come to Anirban. Okay, so I shall ask it to greet by saying certain things. Anirban. mm, uh, okay, whatever. Now what happens? What do you expect? That is also more important. So when you're writing, you should plan your expectation and see what is the difference between your expectation and the actual output. Well, if there is a lot of difference, you will be able to understand what was going, you know, different at your planning and the output. If there is no difference, well, you have hit bullseye. Now let's see whatever you have expected. Let's see if it pans out, and let's run this. Okay. X and Y. There was some number of things. Two were given. Okay, so I have to say grid three, not one, right? Okay, nice. That's fine. Some tiny typos. Now let me comment the previous one and run it again. This will avoid distraction. So did you see how grid three worked? So we are calling only the grid three. Okay, simply this will work. So whenever you are calling a function, you don't ask for print. Okay, you don't say print. You just call that function because inside that function, print command is provided. The print function is available. Any questions here? How it worked and all that. So it's like this is a discussion about the. Okay. So let's call it handling default parameter requirement. Exactly. Good. So this is the question I would require. So Prakriti has asked. I hope all of you have seen it. Um, what happened here? So this new thing that I showed to you should elicit a lot of questions from at least people who are new to definitions of functions. Um, so so what about that? Now to answer what about that, let's find out if we do not have a name, how does greet work? And now someone will have to volunteer and tell what did you understand after this output. Okay, let's comment it and run this.
Only default output.
Yes, nice, right? So many times you don't have data in the corpus. So what do you do then? So you can just fix a default parameter such that if nothing is available, some output will come. Or you can say 404 error, those kind of things. Like something as default or whatever you want. If something is provided, then it will do some actions. It will use that and it will overwrite, or it will not use that information inside it. Okay, yeah,
Can
question,
we say that, sorry,
please. Yeah.
can we say that if a variable has been defined inside the greet function, then you cannot call it with a print, it always has to be called with a greet?
Can you please repeat?
Like X and Y have been defined inside greet 3, right?
No.
So if,
X and Y have not been defined. Grid 3 has been defined. है ना?
okay,
And X and Y's are arguments. Yeah.
huh,
So, yeah, now you tell the question.
sorry. If X and Y are given values inside greet 3,
Hmm.
then like the print function will not be able to call them, then the greet function is the only way you can get them to print. Is that correct?
No, call which? The print is calling X and Y, right? And yeah. So if nothing is provided here, only then everyone will come. Otherwise,
If
um,
there is something greet, then it's going to be the other thing that comes out.
yes, exactly. So everyone will be, it will override that and go to the assigned or provided information or values of the in the
Mm-hmm.
objects, and work with them. In case
And
something is missing, that it will manage with those defaults. It's a very forgiving code. That's the strategy.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Any queries,
yeah,
any clarifications? Yeah, please.
yeah. I just
Nirban.
wanted to add, like, I just wanted to ask something. Like, will this work with when I use this instead of x and y? Like x and y is already put as the default. This will be shown.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
instead, if I want to do like while running the program, like for example, using input function, if we
Hmm.
use input in place in like x, enter your name or y, enter something.
Of
So
course, like here.
will that work, right?
Outside the definition, is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sure, sure. So like my input. Exactly. And that's how everything will work. Whatever variable assignment you can take, you can put that inside. That's not a problem. Oh, don't think that these are the ones, let's say NME, and let's say, okay, you can use them also. Any variable assignment. So that is a recursive strategy. You can use any variable in those locations also. Okay, suppose I put name here, and I put the sentence here, and it will work with them. Not a problem at all. Okay, grade 3. Okay, I did not run it. Is it name equals this? Did you finish the task? What was wrong? My input is not defined. Oh, sorry.
You
Yeah,
sent us.
yeah. This was just, I did not complete that. Yeah, fine. So as you can see, it will take any name that you provide here and work with these strategies or whatever function, uh, commands you write inside to be executed. It will do everything. Okay. So yeah, is your question answered?
No, actually, you said like any name or sentence that has been provided is already been provided. I'm saying that while running the program, while
Yeah.
you using input, if I try to, for example, in sentence in name, I write Anirban, and in sentence I write how are you, something like that. So
Hmm.
will that print uh, this using the same strategy like the print of
In place of name, what did you say?
for example in place of I'm not mentioning here, I'm saying like
Sure.
I don't know, like using input like while running the program, when I run the program, it will
Hmm.
ask for using the name
Yes, yes.
uh, to input.
Suppose, yeah, suppose name equals input, and those functions are there, right? Okay,
Yeah.
है ना? So
Mm-hmm.
whatever that input is stored in the name, right? You know that, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Fine. Once you have data in the variable, use that data
Okay,
information.
okay, okay,
Got
okay.
it? So that is a different thing. It's not related to definition as such. Input simply is able to take input when you are in the terminal. The terminal can take input, interact with people, and then it assigns it to a variable. Once you
Mhm.
have that value inside a variable, you do whatever you want.
Okay,
Is your
okay.
question answered?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you can play around, and it's very open. I mean, it's there is no restriction. So that input assignment has to go to a variable, and you can write a function. So once you put it in a variable, you have the access to the value inside the variable. Okay. Yeah. All right. So any questions? Do let me know. Yeah, I'll just take 1 minute. I'll just come back in a minute. In the meantime, you consider some other questions. I have seen some more questions are here. Yeah, some suggestions from Ritesh also. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, you can do that. I was okay. A lot of questions I might have missed. Sayeda is asking if we put the print part at last, will it make a difference? Print at last. That is, print is at the last, right? Oh, I see. So suppose you want to print here. Is that what you're asking, Saida? Saida, is that what you're asking? So, um, so putting it outside won't work because everything is inside grid only. Okay, there is a new definition. Yeah, okay. Thank you. So we shall see a few more questions, maybe, or discuss in details in the lab sessions, maybe. All right, so let's go to the next activities. Can you give me just 1 minute? I'll come back in a minute. Okay, in the meantime, you practice this, try to create more definitions. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I hope you can hear me now. So I hope, yeah, you can play around with creating, defining more functions. And now we shall go to another kind of layer of other activities which you can work out with. Okay. So what you have done is you can play with different default parameters. You can set the parameter, and a few other things are like you can play with some lists also. So you can use a for loop and create, several things. So fun stuff. Let us play with that and see how definitions help in this domain. So suppose you create a list, say my list equals, and then you just create a few names, or let's say animals, whatever, deer, rat, let's say all of them are mammals, wolf, uh, dog, sorry, um, dog and all, and cat I have written, no, cat, okay, fine, whatever, cat. Okay, so suppose you have a list to work with. Okay, and you can create a definition also. Let's say print, let's define a new something new. Okay, um, let's say list uh, loop, or or it's better if we have a dictionary or something to handle. Yes, that will be awesome. So some dictionary where you can play with these. Okay, and give it some values. Let's say um, shark, fish, And let's say, so on. Okay, suppose you have a dictionary, you can always print it and see how it works. And once you have the dictionary in place, you can, some define, let's say, um, meaning, define a function, let's call it meaning, okay, such that it takes some dictionary, let's say, not addict, uh, dict, or my dict, whatever. This is just a variable inside, okay, a place marker for whatever is to be collected. Now you can use it to print, let's say, the word and its meaning also, so that if you simply ask for the, you know let's say, meanings, word meanings, let's call it will take a dictionary and be able to do something with it. Okay, so suppose you simply want to print, uh, you know for, okay, I didn't do that earlier, right? Huh. So you can go into that and say for x in, I'm not able to see, for x in dictionary, you can say print x comma dictionary of x. Okay, so that is defined. It does not, okay, sorry, uh,
Indentation. So for for
yeah,
statement,
yeah, 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 it didn't go left, yes, correct. So I'll oh, something is happening. All right, okay, so once you call this wr wrd, so once you call this, okay, you have to give it a dictionary inside, otherwise it will throw errors because you haven't given any defaults. Okay, as you can see, nothing is inside, one missing argument is there. So once you say, you can have several dictionaries, okay, let's say you can have a dictionary of nouns, you can have a dictionary of verbs, you can have a dictionary of animals and whatnot. Here it is simply a random, say, my dict, and you can give it a dictionary, this particular dictionary which we have written here, and run it, and it will happily do the same. Okay, so just a sample about what all can be achieved by definition. So uh, there could be different dictionary, and you won't have to write code separately for x in, say, my dict, and all that, print so and so, for x in animal dict, print so and so. No, you don't have to do that. Okay, you just write one definition, whatever number of dict you may have, you can just call it later by this part only, so it minimizes your efforts. So it's also, I think, known as code reuse, and several strategies such that you define functions you can call later and go on. Well, function is mostly this, and we can just see a few things that you can achieve. Okay,
hello sir.
any questions you can ask?
Hello sir.
Yeah, yeah, please.
In the in the function you defining the function here
Yeah,
for x in dictionary print
yeah,
x. You have given
and
the
the
dictionary.
value,
Instead
yeah,
of that,
value
you
of
can, if you
that.
give y, what will be happen?
Pardon? Instead of that?
Instead of dictionary of x, you have given. Instead of that, if you give without the dictionary of x, if you give y, what output will get, sir?
Uh, Without the dictionary.
Yeah. Because in
Like,
dictionary we are having only the two things, key, comma, key and value things we are having.
sure, sure.
Instead,
Okay,
in,
yes, good, good, good. So you find, you can see what happens when you give it a list also. So
no,
it
no,
is just,
no,
yeah,
no. I'm asking print x comma y. What is the output? What will be
x
the
comma
output?
x comma y, है ना?
Y. Yeah.
Because y is not defined, it will simply say that y is not defined.
Yes, correct,
है
correct.
ना?
For example, for the no, see here for x, the first time it takes x as a key. X as a key in the dictionary. There will be taken.
Yes.
If you give
So
x comma y and print x comma y, I'm asking.
yeah,
For
yeah.
x comma y as well as the print x comma y.
Yeah, so inside, once you have reached the print command and all those things, when you are asking for a value, right? So print x comma y means you are asking for a value of x, you are
Mm.
asking for a value of y
Y
also.
as well as in the for loop also we have, if you discover x comma y as well as, because
No, no. Oh, here you can do x comma y in dictionary dot items, that you have to write, है ना?
can
You
can you
remember?
can you, I forget, can you
For
can
x
you
comma y, yeah,
y, okay.
a dictionary dot I, so it will take in a dictionary dot items. I think this was the word. Yes, much.
The print also x comma y.
Yeah, sure, sure. So that is also possible. Okay, I'm coming to that.
X comma
Uh,
y.
uh, Hold on. Yeah, yeah. Do those experiments. Others also can come up with these queries. I'm just checking another thing which I had prepared. Pointer keys, keys, body part here. Did okay. Items was not mentioned. Ah, okay. Nice. So, edit head. Let's try this. So there is one option. There is okay. So print this. So
No, sir.
x
I
comma
think, sir.
y.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. This is what his question was, right,
Yeah,
Srikant?
sir. Hello, sir. Actually, X is basically for the key value, and Y will be for the
Yeah,
value.
yeah,
So, like that, actually, we gave the same thing yesterday also, and it could work. It seems
yeah. So you can get it.
like this can be possible.
Yeah, yeah. That is possible.
Hmm.
So you have to use simply items, but you have to find for x comma y in dictionary item. So this thing follows from the from the previous class for loop, है
Yes,
ना?
yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
So that follows from the dictionary class and what we revised yesterday also. Yeah. So you reuse all those strategies inside, and then you will be able to get the same results. No problem about that. Okay, I should have predefined it lower with another definition, but ठीक है, no problem. You can also write print, that string operators by saying, say, this of s means string of s, and then you can declare a tuple for the string this thing and give x and y. So the first string operator, the what is it called, the percentage operator will take the x and the second will take the y. Let's see what comes. Hmm? Interesting stuff. So you can give it some text, it will work on all these, and this will become very handy when you look for defining some actions upon corpus, stacked corpus and all that. Okay. Any questions, do post and ask. Yeah, we can keep experimenting on the way. So um, there are a few other things which dictionary also function also helps you with. Let me see. Okay. Now some other options that we must see, because many times you'll come up with more, say, complex function situations. Okay, so
Hello sir,
now what,
one more doubt I'm having.
yeah, please.
Can you scroll up little bit?
Yeah, please. Oh, up. Okay, I'll just write it quickly. So this is the next level of issues. Okay. Which part, Srikant?
Okay, sir. Here only. If you are having the dictionary, if we have defined only one dictionary. If there is the more than one dictionary means,
Yeah, sure. Let's, yeah. Go
if
through.
we have to specify in the parameter only. We have to
Exactly.
specify which dictionary we have to specify the parameter. That's it. That's
Very
it's
good.
enough.
Very good. Yes, that's what we should do. You
Okay.
have to specify it here,
Okay.
so that this will be called inside this, and the function will operate on the key value pairs or
Hmm.
whatever is available inside this. Because we have given the codes below the definition to work on dictionary only, okay, it will not work on random strings or lists.
According to the specified dictionary, it will go.
Yes, so suppose if I give name. No, not according to specified dictionary, according to the commands given here, which is supposed to work only on dictionary type of dataset. No. Suppose if I give it for word meanings name, it should throw up issues. Like, you have not found a dictionary. है ना? All these things. So string object has now attribute items. So it is looking for these things. Because items attribute is available only for dictionary. Simple. So these errors will come. So this definition has been designed inside, okay, below the first line, okay, not in the first line. This definition has been designed, from the second line onwards to work upon dictionaries only.
So, okay, sir, I am asking that then this passing the parameter as the name here, first one, the last line. Inside, if you are
Passing the value. Yeah, passing the
the
value.
yes,
Yeah,
in this place we have to pass the parameter of the name of the dictionary.
yeah,
Yeah, my that is the name of the dictionary. Whether I have to pass the name of the dictionary.
yes, exactly. It has to match.
Okay,
If
if
it
I am
there
having the
is
if I am having the one more dictionary means I have
sure,
to
sure. Yeah, good.
that.
Test it with the variety. So if you have my dig 2, then you can have, suppose, one 20, let's say two, this
Hmm.
kind of thing. You can play around. So all of you also try and experiment. That's true. But I think these are the things we should discuss more in the lab sessions. That's okay. And
Oh,
suppose you can do d of my two, so it will print both happily. Okay, so no problem. So this single one occurs again and again. So you may need this kind of definition, say functions, hundreds of times through big kind of code sets and all that. Okay, so that is also possible. So as I think Ritesh was pointed out, a good way to do it is when you mostly do it offline on your system or using calling different Google Colab sheets. You can define different functions in different sheets also, and you can say import here, like that, the dictionary. And import function, I don't know whether it has been dealt with. It takes arguments and few other things, and it's a different discussion. Yeah, but it can be dealt with, file import or other things. Yeah, the same strategy can be used. I don't have a definition prepared in another sheet, so I think that's for another day, but you can experiment that. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. We'll go on with the next level of complexity. So several times um, some parameters that can be defined, say that can be declared as integral to the, say, definition. Suppose here it is 2, okay, uh, again here it is 2, but as you can see in line number 1 for 2.1, these are compulsory. If there is if you did not uh, give any one of them when you are calling them, then there will be errors. Here there is nothing, whereas in the other one, even if you didn't mention something here you have observed, it still gives an output by taking some default values. Now the situation is, sometimes you'll come across codes where there is a complex situation. Okay, um, Right. So let me do that. So we can, let's say, define a complex function. Okay, let us give it a set of parameters a, b, c, d. Let's give some of them a few values. Say d equal to 2. Let's say e equals 4. What? Okay, and suppose there is a combination of both compulsory parameters as well as default parameters. Okay, so that kind of facility is also available. Let's see how this thing gives us an extra edge. So suppose you want to print random stuff. Suppose a plus b, whatever is given in the b location. Okay, that whole thing divided by c, let's say, plus let's say d into multiplied by e. Okay, suppose. So you should give some numbers. Okay.
Type Z
That
instead of.
is not defined.
Oh, sorry. It was by mistake. A typo. A and Z were too near. Thank you for pointing it out. Okay. All right. So suppose you have a random requirement. Many times you calculate, let's say, frequency. You calculate some word weightage. There are some strategies like per sentence. What is how many times the word occurs? Accordingly, you decide some weight of a word in the whole text. So some complex function may be required. Okay, that's okay. So several calculations may be required. I'm just giving a situation here where such cases may arise. Okay, so in such kind of situations, okay, um, suppose I am calling a complex function and I am giving them some values. Okay, suppose I don't give anything. What do you expect will happen? Guess. Give me a honest guess, please. Anyone
No, we
volunteer?
have at least we have to define the two parameters, that is A, B,
Which
C
two?
values. A, B, C we have to
Three.
give.
Three parameters. Very
It
good.
is compulsory.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, no, it will not. It is not. The parameter is not matching with that.
yes.
The parameter
Number
is
of
mismatching.
arguments.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
mismatch
So
parameters.
yes. So once you can see that only two have been given as default, unless all of them were given some default values, you have to give something. Yeah. So if you do this, uh, and there will be a difference with if you do this, teen. Suppose 1, 2. So what will happen now if I give 1 and 2? That's the
The
thing.
same
Let us,
thing. Mismatch
yeah.
parameter.
Yeah. Suppose I try the first one and there is a problem missing 3 required positional arguments. Okay, so 3 are required. As you can see, it does not ask for the other 2, right? So even if we try the other one for new time, people who are new to programming, we go through those steps tediously. Um, Missing 1, as you can see, C is missing. Otherwise, other things are satisfied. These are also technical terms. They are satisfied with some value assignments. So at least some things will be required. Three.
Just repeat it
Okay.
once.
Yeah, yeah. So as you can see, some value has come. Interesting. So I'll just repeat it. Uh, you can have interesting combinations of certain compulsory parameter assignments that must be given with the function, and some defaults can also be assigned. Okay, so this is also possible. So suppose let me show you a situation.
Hello, sir.
Suppose
Hello, sir.
Shrikant.
I'm having one doubt. We are passing the three parameters in this.
Uh-huh.
We are having the same function name with the actual only three parameter means what which function will run.
Yes, correct. Yeah, this may also explain the previous question. I think Amam asked.
No, 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 no,
So
no,
it
no.
is,
That is different. I'm asking the question that We are having
I
the
know,
same
I understood your question.
we are
Yeah.
having the same function name. Then we define the function name with 5 parameters.
Yeah.
Now we are defining the same function name with 3 parameters.
Not
So now,
defining. You are not defining. You are
no,
calling.
next
What
in
is
case
the calling? Yeah.
again no the calling. This is calling. I got it. That is the
Hmm.
two function name. We are
Where?
defining the same function name is same. The function name is
No, there
different.
some
Different.
function name same hai to that will be overwritten. No, that
No,
function
no,
will
no,
not.
no, no. If you are having the parameter list is different means it won't overwritten.
Yeah, yeah. It will parameter what?
Here for one, see the first
Ah,
we are having the function name a comma b comma c d and e we are having.
yes.
Next another function name is complex function, not two, the same function name.
Hmm.
Complex two. We are having the same. We don't have the parameter of d and e. Remove the d and d, sir. Remove the d
Ah,
and e.
fine, fine, fine.
Remove the d and d. Both the things.
Okay.
Remove, not value. Remove d
हाँ
and e,
ठीक
entire thing.
ठीक है
Okay. Now we are okay. Now we are having the some other the function explanation that is different.
हाँ so
If you are
print will
calling
not
the
work.
function with the
Print
three
will not work.
parameters, if you are calling
Print
the
will not
function
work.
by 3 parameter list, which one will have the highest priority?
Which to have the highest priority? You mean what?
Which function will execute?
No function. Only the last function will execute. Last in the list. This is
But
overwritten.
can you try it? Can you try it? Run
Yes.
with
We have to remove D and E.
okay.
No, every time anything is reassigned, right? It is overwritten. So
No,
as
no,
you
sir,
can
it won't overwritten because it is differ by parameter list.
hmm?
It is differ from the parameters. So previously we are having the 5 parameters. In the next function we are having only the 3 parameters.
Yes.
I think if you are giving the without the last two functions, I think this will execute because this won't execute. The reason is we are specifying only the 3 parameters. Can you run it again?
Oh yeah. Okay. So the thing is, there DNE is also used by default. Here DNE will not be used, so the value will change. ठीक है ना? Let me copy it first. We have to compare it. No?
Sir, I think, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
What Shrikant is trying to ask is, in the given complex function A, B, C, D, E, out of it, D and the E's are given,
Yeah.
values are given.
No,
So
no.
when you are giving the complex function of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 will stand for A, B, C. It seems like that.
Yeah.
Because
What? Yes.
D and the
Correct.
E's are already given. The
Yes.
value of D and E's are already given. So it's not
Yeah.
necessary to give. That's why 1 will stand for A, 2 will stand for B, C will stand for C, like that.
Yeah.
No, no,
Exactly. I'm coming to
no.
that. There is some discussion here. So
Different.
suppose
This is different. Okay, run it, sir. Run it. Run it.
hmm.
See?
Okay. So there will be a difference because these things have not been used here. And if you give this here, there will be errors because it won't find those. है ना? So the function is overwritten. That's okay. Yeah. So you should practice those, and of course, at your free time
No,
also
no,
keep it.
sir. Hello, sir. If the
Yeah.
function is overwritten, means next you call the function with 5 parameters.
No,
Yeah,
it won't.
that's what.
It
It
will
won't
work.
work. Why
It is
should it
not
work?
overwritten because if it is matching the parameter list is matching means
You can see it is overwritten. No, it takes 3 now, but 5 were
5
given.
were given, yeah.
Yeah. It should overwrite. So these are assignments. No, so a new function has been created with the same name. The old one will not be maintained. It will be overwritten. है ना? So yeah, by default. I hope it answers that. Right. Amam, your question was in general about these things, no? Which is
Yeah,
taken priority? What is the
yes,
priority?
ABC will be given priority.
Yes, very good. Yeah. So now, suppose I call this here, and we have to, yeah, I'll go to the next step of discussion. Now, if I type this, and I have to specify uh, a, sorry, let's say 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now, can we play around other things also? Okay. Uh, so we can also change the values of D and E. That option is also available. Take it. So you can just change one of them, like 4. So in the sequence, only the value of D will be, overridden as 4, and then the output will come. Okay, so there will be a difference in the value. Sorry, for the this has been overwritten, right? Yes, we should change that back. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, something else is also added now. Well, now the value of D has been added. Now if you add some other value to E, suppose 20 whatever. Okay, so I think total will decrease or something. Let's see. So it should decrease. Let's see. Sorry, what happened previously? D into E. Oh, there's a addition. Okay, ठीक
That
है.
is into.
Yeah, multiplied. Yeah. All right. So as you can see, these things are changing. Now, if you don't want to change the value of D, but you want to change the only the value of E, what do you do? Any suggestions? Any suggestions? So you can simply say, okay, E equals, say, 8,
Define value. Okay.
and it will happily work. So many times, when you are doing, mostly in function oriented these things, mostly function defined and all, I think R programming and other things have that. So most of them have all the functions only, and you are giving certain arguments to the functions, and certain parameters are also predefined. Most of the times, when you do statistical analysis for data analysis and all that in R programming and all that, they are function oriented mostly. um, you can give the main argument, it will work with some default assignments, and sometimes you want to change it. Yeah, so I was going to a discussion why these things may be useful. So uh, many times, uh, you may find that, okay, there may be a requirement such that, the text that you have has, it has been written in 2000, let's say, grammar. Suppose you want to parse. Okay, suppose you want to parse a sentence, a single sentence, um, and the single sentence is, suppose, I will uh, go I will go to the market. Okay, so many of there are different, you know types of grammar. Even there is, a bare phrase structure grammar, there is government and binding, and there is minimalism also, and there is, transformational grammar also. Have you heard those terms already?
Yeah, yeah, we have
So,
done it.
yeah,
We have
some
done
of
it.
you might be, even very new to linguistics also. So these are different types of approaches. Now, if you wanted a parse according to government and binding approaches, you can define a default name here. Okay, and if you, let's say, let's call it, sorry, let's say GB, suppose. Okay, um, if you want it according to something else, like say minimalism, or let's say transformational generative grammar, then inside you may have to, let's say, let's call it like this: grammar equals whatever, let's say transformational generative grammar, suppose. So when you are calling it, okay, so by default it may go with GB, and inside you may be able to write some operation such that if grammar, the value of grammar is, GB. Okay, fantastic, you can give some commands here. Then again you can write, let's say, elif, or let's say, again, if grammar equals, let's say, transformational
Sir,
generative
double
grammar.
equal. Double equal.
Sorry. Thank you for pointing it out. So these are logical operators. Yeah. So if this is the case, then something else, some other operations you can, you know, target here, right? So this thing really helps. So by default, it can go with GB and solve it for you if you have not specified when calling. Okay. Suppose you have this thing sentence. Okay. And suppose you give it a sentence. John is happy. Okay. So suppose when it goes with GB, it will show, okay, there is an in full phrase IP, there is, it will show through some bracketings, it will be able to give an output IP goes to this, that, and there is in full, there is a be verb with a present tense, and there is an adjective, happy, so on and so forth. Okay. With transformational generative grammar, it may show ox and all that. You know? So you can decide for different operations according to different, say, values, but you can go with a default value also and give the default strategy. Otherwise, only if and something else is given here, so here nothing is given, it can go with GB and give infill and all that. IP goes to spec IP, and this thing I then sorry, I bar, then I bar goes to I, and VP, so on and so forth, or adjective phrase here. But if you later give comma and then specify, let's say, T GG, and you are telling the program, okay, give me according to transformational generative grammar, not GB. I want to do something else. So these things get very handy, come very handy. In statistics, though, so much. There are so many different types of distributions, binomial, polynomial, and all that. So you specify that. So this becomes handy. Okay, in such situations. I'm just giving a situational example, where it comes handy. So in the operation, you decide what else, small things to be run and planned. Okay, I'll just bring it to the previous status, and yeah, right. So at least 3 are recorded. All right. So you can do interesting stuff like, um, let's put a ready-made thing that I had prepared. Okay, where is my mouse? Okay. Okay, so it's like, the let's say a simple code where you can run the following thing. So suppose you know you suppose you have a situation. Oh, sorry. What happened? Oh, I see. Right. So suppose you want to, you know, um, count the number of items. That's what I've been saying, right? So if the type is string, you can do undertake certain operations. Okay. If the type is a list, you have to do, the length of the item, suppose, whatever. Um, and if the type is a equals dict also, you can do something else. Okay, the length of item. So len also works for dict, list, as well as string, whatever. Now this is, for example, if you give a, counter, counting strategy for string, and if you give it, if a list is given, it won't work, right? And likewise, if counting strategy for a list is provided only, or dictionary only is provided, then for string, it won't uh, work. Okay. So some kind of combinations have to be seen. So how many items inside it, and all, you may want to split it and all that. I think for a string it's supposed to work. Why not? Okay, so the length of string, the length of a word, what should be the output?
Sir,
Suppose.
You are comparing whether the given string is str or list or
Mm.
daxt.
Yes, yes. So you can take different decisions according to, you know, different things inside. So
We
these
didn't call
options,
the function.
no, we will call it later. So this is
Oh,
just about the definition part.
okay,
You can
definition
define,
definition.
yeah, inside definition you can set up options where you have some identifier. Okay, for string do something, for, you know, list do something, and so forth. So anyways, for string it should work, you know, and
It won't work.
for string it works still. This works, that's okay. But still, yeah. So here what I am doing is, um, if item is string, I am also saying the input you have provided is a string with these many words, you know. And well, if there is a number which is an output of that operation, you have to use it as a string here, and percentage of percent of that converts that number into a string. Otherwise there will be issues of, you know, catenating integers with a string. So likewise I have put an identifier here also. If type of the item, that thing provided inside, if it is a list, then it will print out the input you have provided is a list with these many items. If it is a dictionary, it will say the input you have provided is a dictionary with these many items or these many keys, as you can see. So the first one says, oh, words. Okay. So if it is a long string, um, suppose of 5 or 6 words, or if it is a string with one word only, so it will count the number of words by splitting them default at the space. Likewise for items in the list, as well as the number of, you know, it will say, just mention the keys, because from top surface, if you remember, if you open the top of the dictionary, the keys are available, so length shows that. So if we showed it our dictionary, let's do that. I think my dictionary is running well and fine, and then we can run this. Let us create another code separately. Oh yeah. What happened? There is some problem in a particular line. Items. Value syntax. No, for others it is working. Is a list with this. Oh, I see. Sorry for the brackets. Sorry for the brackets. Okay. Okay. So yeah, forget about these things. How do I get rid of this? Okay. Right. So if we write a query asking or giving it a particular dictionary, let's say, hmm, using with GUIs is a little tedious for me. Item count of item count of our dictionary. Our dictionary name was my dict, right? Yes. My dict, only my dict, or let's say my dict 1 and 2 we shall do. Dictionary count of my dict. Hmm. Okay. Did I write D capital? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see how many items it's able. See, look at the output. Okay, with 3 keys. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I shall make a change. So, well, you understand, you get the point, what is happening. If I simply asked for my dict 2, in place of 3, it will simply say the following. Okay, item count, my dict 2, right? Oh, sorry, I didn't run that. After I run it, then only the new store key values will be restored, stored again. So as you can see, it changes. So it is able to identify because of these commands. If something equals this, do that, otherwise that, if this, that. Okay. What if we gave simply gave you know sentence directly? Okay, and let's run it. Well, you have the output. Okay, is it visible? Is it clear? So you can run, different types of outputs and all that. We can give a list inside it also. We can give a list inside it, and it can be something like say number list, uh, three, anything. List can combine any kind of stuff inside. Dictionary, empty dictionary also. Okay, one equals some value or something, whatever. Let's count and see. Fine, three items. And a string also, digital dictionary, and the list, and another list also you can provide inside, to list of strings and integers, whatnot. Happily does that. So it is a list with four items. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. If there are any questions or something you are trying creatively, we can discuss also. Okay. Mm, so there are different things you can do also. For example, you can write your code. I'll just take the call for a second. It's a little urgent, and I'll paste it for you, so you can guess what is going on. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I'm sorry for the interruption. Few urgent things are coming up today since morning. Okay, so okay, so I think raw.input was a Python 2 thing, whereas Python 3 may not be able to do that. Let me
Takes only input, not raw input.
exactly. Python 3 is only input. Yeah. So okay, right. Word count item. Word count item. What is that? Okay, nice. Fine. So what we can do is we can type the input, and what we can try ask it to do is item count. Hmm. Item count. Let's say. Wow. Suppose uh, I give it some input, and whatever it is, it should be able to work it out. Or let's say interact my input. Well, let's not do item counts here. Let's say okay, item count. Let's say word count. Did we do a word count? No. Okay, definitions. All right, nice. Um, so what we can quickly do is we can define a small dictionary. Say my new dictionary equals this, and new dict of, let's say, uh, animal. Okay, it suppose I am allotting it a value living, suppose for example. Okay, new dict of uh, let's say snake. Let's allot it living what uh, or reptiles, whatever. Suppose so this thing is stored inside, and suppose I define an interact. Okay, uh, and uh, and then what I ask it to do is print, let's say, the my this particular dictionary of that input. Okay, let's see how it works. Does it work in the collab? I haven't tested yet. Ah, I see. Sorry. Little typo here and there. Oh, I have to call it. In collab, does it work? Yeah, nice, fantastic. So let's write. Does it take it as a default string? Ah, nice. Right, so you can work it out and play around with it. Let's say, let's put animal is not a mammal necessarily. Let's say, yeah, right. So you can say snake, and this thing comes. Okay, it has ended. Yeah. So let's give another input, say elephant, and it gives some output. And I hope you understood what all can be done. So defining things can make it very interesting, and you don't have to write the things. Defining a function or using a function helps you, achieve a lot of economy when you're writing the codes. And these are just some examples of where all it may be used. Okay, ठीक है. So right. What is the time to be stopped? I think it was what,
12:30.
12:30. Yeah, I think we
Now
have
it's
done.
one.
Yes. So let us call it a break, and there are of course several implementations, but the definition part is only that much. There are values to be given to parameters, and what is to be done with the parameters, the function can decide. Okay, so let's have a break, and then is Ritesh there? You can tell whether you want to announce something. If there are any questions, you can share. We You can type the questions also and queries. All right, so let us reassemble at the for the lab session around 3. Okay, so in 2 hours we'll meet again and practice more from within these codes and try some other stuff. Okay, so let's call it a break for now.